Hey, I'm Anthony Romano, and this video is going to teach you some great tips on how to hack your fasts. So, if you're somebody who likes fasting, okay, this is going to talk a lot about prolonged fasting, but a little bit about intermittent fasting, and basically how to get some extra benefit and also more fat loss, but I'm going to get into it in this video. It's going to be a different, not a long video, but a diverse video, okay? Lots of different clips, get a little bit of workout in there. But first of all, thank you to everybody who got the Keto Shred program, everybody who supported the Keto Manifesto, and everybody who supports this page every day. Thank you very much. I couldn't have asked for a better book launch, and I hope that the Shred program is really benefiting you in a multitude of ways. On that note, we're going to be updating the Keto Shred program, tweaking a little things, adding in a few more references. So that'll be sent out to everybody who did purchase the Keto Shred program within a week or so, or 2-3 weeks. So little extra references, updated version is going to be added on, and you're going to receive that. On top of that, get the Keto Shred program if you haven't. Big news, the Keto Shred program launch sale is extended. It was supposed to end today, but I'm extending this as part of a New Year's sale. Okay, I realized a lot of people want to make a big change in their life going into 2021. And, I want everybody who's following this page to get the best opportunity to get this at the rock bottom, lowest price possible. So $37.94. If you don't like it, you can get your money back. Okay, I haven't had anybody who's wanted that. All you have to do is email me and it's no problem. It's no risk to try it out. And the Keto Shred program is already complete as it is, but even if you get it now, everybody who gets it is going to get the additional audiobook companion, all the other bits I add in to build up this program, but even as it is now in just a book form, it is actionable, it is complete, and the ability to use it to get the best fat loss protocols of your life. So, don't torture yourself with some other random fad diet into January, okay? Keto is not a fad diet. It's the only fad diet, if you want to call it that, that's physiologically built into you, okay? Your body has mechanisms designed for ketosis, and your ancestors would use it every single year, okay? Whether they liked it or not, they had no choice if there's no food around or if sugar didn't grow in the winter. So, take advantage of the January sale. The launch sale is extended, $37.94 before it goes back up to $63. And thank you to everybody for the support on it. Let me know your thoughts and, how killer you think the program is so far. Saying about this, let me know your thoughts, your feedback. It's something I put a lot of time and decade of experience into. So, enough promo. Let's get into this video. Alright, so I'm going to start this video off with a little interesting story about the Keto Shred program and Manifesto. So as many of you know, I have 3 jobs, okay? I do this and all the associated acts with it, the coaching, the consults, the writing the books, okay, making the videos every single day, and then I have 2 other jobs. So, there's not a lot of time on my hands. And basically, I've been working every single day, every hour on those projects, the Manifesto and the Shred program, every day in December, a lot in November too, but basically the last few weeks I was really doubling down to really finish and polish up every single detail of the Shred program and the Manifesto, and when we're talking about what I was doing the last week of writing it all, I was basically sleeping on 3 hours a night for the past 3 days. The 3 days before the launch, I slept 3 hours per night every single night leading up to the launch. So I had also fasted entirely, and I'm currently fasted during this video about 4 days now. You wouldn't believe it, right? So that's the mental benefit of fasting. And there's actually some very interesting benefits with fasting when we're applying it to low sleep. So maintaining that ketogenic autophagy state that you get from prolonged fasting is really going to help your brain out during that time. And an interesting lesson I learned, besides the fact that, I felt like a Navy SEAL with the willpower I had to expend for those projects. The thing you're going to learn is that if you fast for prolonged times while you are going on low sleep, it's a profound difference. Okay, I've had plenty of all-nighters in school and university. Nothing compared to how much easier this was. And I had more work on my hands for these projects and definitely, I'd say more passion behind them, even though I liked what I was studying in school. But when we're talking about how this applies to you, I'm not saying to do a prolonged fast every single time you have to stay up late, but I'll tell you right now, I imagine if you go to sleep on an empty stomach rather than eating last meal, you're going to wake up feeling the next day a lot better. And if you have to stay up again the next day and sleep on 3 hours again, you're going to really notice some extra enhancement. So, why? Autophagy, the ability to fuel your brain with cholesterol from your arteries, basically while you're in the deep fasted state. This is something very beneficial and impactful, stuff that people don't really talk about. But the enhanced effects of autophagy really do play a role, especially when we're talking about low sleep, okay? You can really clear out a lot of crap out of your brain, okay? There's a lot of reasons for this. A lot of it is because autophagy basically signals the, decay and discarding of weak proteins. And also you have acetone, which is a ketone, if you know what acetone is, right? It's in like women's nail polish remover or men's nail polish remover if you're into that. But it's acetone, okay? It's paint thinner. That's what it is. It's I mean, I've seen it before in like my sister's nail polish remover as a kid. But that's a ketone body. So you get to basically flush, your brain. You get to flush certain parts of your body with acetone. And that's like a plaque remover. Even think about all the acetone in your mouth, right? If you're somebody who's new to keto, the keto breath, that's from a ketone body called acetone getting into your mouth. And I think acetoacetate is also one that gets excreted through the saliva. But anyways, that's paint thinner. That is nail polish remover, which is also going to help clear out some plaque. So again, further reasoning as to why keto is a natural process, and accessing it every season of the year, as our ancestors would have, is something that can benefit you. I'm not going to say that it's something that's going to, make your teeth sparkly white all the time. But, can it help diminish plaque buildup? For sure. In some way, right? We know it has application to the brain, for example, and other areas when you have lactic acid and other ketones. Well, not saying lactic acid is a ketone, but you get what I'm saying. So, where am I going with this? That's some of the benefits right off the bat, and they're related to, my writing of these projects. Okay, very low sleep, definitely felt enhanced. So that's the reason why, of all the videos I make on nootropics and whatnot, one of the biggest nootropics you can do is fast for prolonged times. However, just something you want your lifestyle to take the lead with, which is exactly what I did when I was writing these programs in this video. So now what I'm going to do to make it even better is I'm going to go work out in my basement, because when you work out in the fasted state, you are really, making some extra detox benefits. Okay, you're basically telling your body which parts of the body are most important to replace. And because you're in the autophagy state, if you're prolonged fasting for days on end, you're basically going to really help fix a lot of problems you might have, especially if you have injuries in certain areas. I'm not saying they're going to clear up overnight like magic and, consult your medical doctor before all this stuff, etc. But the point is, that's a great way to tell your body exactly what to replace. And it's especially beneficial if you do a little hack I'm about to show you, where you consume a little bit of niacin beforehand. So a lot of keto people have spoken plenty about niacin. Well, not plenty, but plenty of keto people have spoken little bits about it. Because you can use niacin, which is a B vitamin, to get into the keto state deeper and also faster. Why? Niacin's a B vitamin which basically makes you clear out your glucose. And if you got the Keto Shred program, you heard some very interesting stuff that I have never said on videos before about niacin. So that's what you want to get your hands on the Keto Shred program for. But niacin helps you liberate glucose from your body, so you can basically, run through it, and when you're done, you get upregulated ketogenesis, okay? So, which is production of ketones. So why is this beneficial? Well, if you're fasted, that's going to be endogenous production of ketones. So that's going to be coming from your fat stores directly. And also, it's going to help boost autophagy after you run through the glucose. Now, of course, when you are, in the fasted state working out, you're going to run through some glucose too, experience more cortisol. But when your insulin's at this level that it is during the fasted state, you are not going to experience muscle breakdown. You are going to target fat loss, because when cortisol is high and insulin is low, it basically sends a signal to your body that you're not taking in any food, so you really have to double down on your stored fuel. Think about it, right? Insulin's the fuel storage hormone. It's the most anabolic hormone in the body. So when it's not present, your body is also, by its absence, right, it's tacitly provoked into targeting stored fuel. Interesting, right? So this is just a sliver of some of the stuff you could learn about that I've put into the Keto Shred program. But how does this apply to getting shredded and healthier? Take a little bit of niacin, but very small amounts. Very, very, very key here. Okay, I'm going to explain this. Do not start taking niacin, or anything for that matter, without professional, medical, licensed advice first. However, do not take a large amount after just watching this video, okay? Do not take a single dose amount, because it will really make you uncomfortable. Niacin causes this little flush effect where you basically get red and it feels a little bit like a sunburn. So, for a little bit, it's not that bad. But, if you have a high dose, it will be quite unbearable and it will last a couple hours. So never take a high amount. High amount for most people being 500 milligrams. So don't even take 200. take less than 100 your first few times, and you want to gently build up your tolerance, because that's what's going to make it less uncomfortable for you. But I'm going to go work out, and I'll show you some of the other benefits of, prolonged fasting and enhanced autophagy that you can get, especially if you use niacin beforehand. Workout, not going to be the most pleasant experience of your life. Neither is fasting if you're new, but it's going to bring a lot of benefit. All right, so what I'm going to be doing here is whipping up some niacin. Now, you got to be very careful with niacin because you definitely do not want to have too much. This is a very interesting hack for you. So always get a scale like this one, this absolute mess. You'll feel like a complete weirdo / mad scientist / drug dealer. But what you want to do is, actually I need these. You want to get a small bit. I like to measure it because you definitely don't want to have too much. Actually, I have a leftover one here because I always leave about half of them. See how this is a half full pill? Yeah, you just crack it open, and I'm gonna pour in just a wee bit because I'm fasting and I don't want to feel like crap. Whoops. So with the niacin, you got it in a little container. I'm gonna take a shot of that after. This is definitely a very advanced technique. Okay, it's not something for everybody. Okay, so remember that. And also, I do have a large bottle of wine here. Okay, I was writing a book for like months on end, but really doubling down the last few weeks. Okay, so gotta have a big bottle of wine. And also Black Cellar, if you want to sponsor me and give me some free wine, I will absolutely take you up on that. Literally my favorite wine, dealer. Okay, so I've decided that this is now a fasting full day of not eating video. Okay, so like I said, 4 days into a fast, you don't really need to see the rest of the day, okay? You just need to see the protocols that are necessary for prolonged fasting. So I mentioned the niacin. That's an advanced thing. Another thing you could do is you could use CBD oil, but it has to be CBD, and you have to consume it orally. And so don't consume it in other methods for the purposes to work. I'm not going to judge you, but you have to consume this because your liver has to break something down in the right way. Basically, that can massively de-inflame your body when we're then considering the autophagic processes that are going on, so the cellular cleansing. So this makes a big difference, and it's the reason we have a cannabinoid system, the endocannabinoid system. So another good tip right there. And again, that's why you don't need to see the whole day. You just need to know the tips. So I've already had the niacin, and you might notice that I'm a little bit redder, maybe. That's because I use very small doses. But I also recommend apple cider vinegar. Granted, if you're talking pure, hardcore, strict extremist fast, you don't want to consume anything. But I don't really give a shit if there's that much of a slight bit of difference, in my stomach releasing enzymes to break down the bacteria that's in the apple cider vinegar. No, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna get more acid from here, and you can mess with some pHs and stuff. You could mess with adding in baking soda to lower the pH and make it better for your kidneys and things like that. But this is the basic stack for fasting, okay? The basic stack is sodium, pink salt, and potassium as no salt, okay? It has to be potassium chloride. Do not take pills or I will yell at you in the comments because you're gonna give yourself a lot of stomach problems and possibly stomach ulcers. So don't take pills for potassium. There's plenty of people who've spoken about this on YouTube before. But potassium chloride / tartrate is good. And you wanna take basically, okay, the dose is gonna vary. If you're fasting the whole day, you want a teaspoon of each, potassium and sodium. And then basically you wanna sip on that slowly throughout the day in about 2 liters of water. This is the protocol that's been commonly given out by Cole Robinson, a.k.a. Snake Diet. And you know what? He really struck a great balance there. And, even though I would still consume electrolytes while I was fasting before finding his stuff, the ratio and the total dose is a great, thing that I attribute to him. So discovery, if you want to call it. But I like to use this little 1/4 teaspoon measuring thing, and I will switch up the electrolytes. Now, that's going to help you out dramatically in a workout environments. And ultimately, it's going to fuel your body better because you need those electrolytes you're going to get depleted of while you're fasting, and you're not going to have any other way to retain water. And you also don't want to become hyperaldosteronemic. So basically, not enough aldosterone and excreting too much sodium. So you want to take, a considerable amount of water. Generally don't use plastic, okay? You don't want to break down the byproducts of plastic degradation. But I just got a plastic shaker bottle here. This is not something I do all the time, and this is a new bottle, whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix up this little electrolyte drink, and that's gonna help me get a better workout in, even though I feel pretty good, and the niacin can probably add a little bit of a boost, but again, be very careful with dosing, 100 milligrams or less. Now, you could also add in apple cider vinegar. I recommend doing this as far as the stable blood glucose benefits and in general for other health benefits you might get from the probiotic bacteria and the acetic acid, well, which is going to provide the glucose benefit. But anyways, this stuff people might give you a hard time about. They might say, oh, you know, the bacteria is going to break your fast. It's not going to make that much of a difference. If my stomach has to make some enzymes to break down a little bit of bacteria, it's not going to destroy your whole fast, okay? Granted, if you're an extremist, then don't have anything during your fast. But this stuff is going to be beneficial for most people, you know, as far as making this practical and getting some other benefit, especially if you want to help out your organs, your kidneys, you want to get some apple cider vinegar in there. Now, I'm going to be taking a very small dose because I've already consumed a little bit of electrolytes today. Most of this fast, I've actually done dry fasted, which is a new thing for me. I normally would do I have a lot of experience fasting and prolonged fasting, but I would always use water and electrolytes as well. But I was just really busy, and I basically, like the first day of the fast, had a little bit of coffee, then absolutely nothing. So if anything, that probably depleted me of some electrolytes even more. And then the next day it was just a coffee, black coffee, and that was it. So granted, I know the hardcore dry fasters will be like, no, you're not dry fasting if you have coffee. But the rest of like the preceding 24 hours were all dry fasted until the next day, where I had a little bit of coffee, you know, one coffee, and then it was back to dry fasting. And then the third day or so, and fourth day or so, I had more electrolytes and water. But small bit of this, I like to take a quarter teaspoon measuring thing apparatus whenever I'm doing, you know, varying electrolyte consumption. So for starters, the best way you want to do this is start off the day, get a teaspoon of potassium chloride and sodium chloride, and put that into a 2-liter thing of water that is not made of plastic, that is optimally made of glass, so you don't get the byproducts of plastic degradation. Now, you want to do that and sip it slowly throughout the day, and if you need more, maybe add in micro amounts of that serving of the 1 teaspoon of each. However, for me, I've experimented a lot with different electrolytes, so I know that I'm not going to run into problems and make myself have to run to the bathroom and shit myself. That's not going to happen with me because I already know how to use these things properly, so don't overdo it. But that is where I like to add in a little bit sparingly throughout the day. I know how much I can handle with no problems at all. Especially if I'm working out, you're going to be running through. So if you're somebody who's intermittent fasting, you could use this protocol where you get a little mini quarter teaspoon thingy, and definitely you won't run into any problems. And there's full protocols of this in the Keto Shred program as well. But I'm going to take about half a teaspoon worth of each, okay, as a little boost. And basically that's going to be my little pre-workout for the day. That and a little bit of niacin, and I also take the niacin out of the capsule because I don't want my stomach to have to break down the veggie capsule. And I mean, granted, it's still breaking down a B vitamin, niacin, but it's water soluble. That should be fine and all that stuff. So making this little drink, you're going to get a nice workout in.